Once again, I welcome you to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolise. I'm sure your week has started on a fantastic footing. Yes, I'm looking forward to the Olympics, where the Super Falcons of Nigeria will look to make it past the group stage. They've never made it past the group stage at the Olympics. Remember also, it is their first appearance at the Olympics since 2008. We are rooting for them, not just the Super Falcons, but also Team Nigeria. Don't forget, on the show, we give you so much from the world of sports, from football, tennis, Formula One, boxing, name it. It is the best. It is Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolise. I'm doing this with David. But first, we need to go on a break, catch our breath. When we come back, I'll be introducing David and I will unpack all that we have in store for you today. Don't change the channel. We will be right back. Welcome back. It is still Sports Pizza. Edwin in the building alongside David. David, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, Edwin, I'm good. Delighted to be here as always. Let's get this show on the road.
All right, David. Just a couple of days ago, I just sat back in my room. I was just thinking of back Olympics growing up, the fun fair, the razzmatazz. The opening ceremony was always a delight to look forward to. But these days, I don't know. Maybe because I'm older, but that's frenzy with the Olympics. It seems to have died down. I don't know what's the problem. I don't know if you're experiencing the same feeling.
Yeah, I remember growing up. I remember Beijing. I remember the Olympics. You know, I remember even as close as London in 2012. There was still a lot of razzmatazz. We saw. That's why we say British people don't have culture, but at least we saw some razzmatazz. But it seems like subsequent ones have not been giving us. I don't know, maybe it's because the world is ever changing now. And there are so many things to take our attention away from, you know. So I think, but eventually when it kicks off, if you are a sports aficionado, you follow your sports and you still get what you want from it.
Which events do you look forward to at the Olympics?
And for me, it's athletics. You know, the sprints, the long distance. You know, I enjoy watching records being set. Then also the field events too. You know, javelin. You know, shot put, discus, and hammer, and all those other sports. I enjoy athletics generally for me. Yeah.
So the 100-meter final is always the highlight of the Olympics. Hopefully we get a Nigerian in the final. And Super Falcons are in a very tough group. Brazil, Spain and Japan. Spain and Japan, former world champions. One is former, one is current in Spain. Brazil, hey, we know all about Brazil.
Absolutely.
Haven't won the World Cup, but one of the biggest teams in women's football. What are the chances of the Super Falcons?
I think for the fact that we've not been to the Olympics since 2008, it tells you how difficult it is. But also the fact that, unlike the male edition, where you're allowed to bring players under 23, then 3 overage players, the women's edition is your full 11. So I think that's where the Super Falcons are going to have it very difficult, because every country is coming with their best of legs. I mean, Brazil is coming with Marta, even though she's not going to be ever present, but they still have the likes of Debinia, and Christiana. So they have quality players. Also Japan, Japanese football is, women's football, they produce one of the greatest women footballers of all time, Umarisawa. So they are also very good. And also Spain, world champions. We know everything they did at the last World Cup. So it's a tall order. I don't know. I just expect the girls to give their very best, just go out and do what the best they can do.
Don't forget, on the show, we're giving you all of the latest highlight information and, of course, juicy stories as regards the Olympics. This time, David, let's switch focus to football. And, we know it's the transfer season. Yeah. We need to talk about Nigerian players. Last week, we talked about a couple. Yeah. What do you have for us today on the show?
Yeah, so Edwin, this week we have, I'm looking at 2 players in particular. I'm looking at Paul Ibero-Onuachu of Southampton. But my issue with him is this season he's not going to play for Southampton.
Why do you think so?
I think
Che Adams is free already. He's on the verge of joining Torino.
Yeah. But the manager, Russell Martin, I don't think he has plans to incorporate Onuachu in his plans. He has options going forward. I would say Kumara is just returning from loan, and I think it was good for them in the championship in their promotion season. So I think Onuachu was good in Turkey. He had a very fantastic 14 goals in all competitions for Trabzonspor. But the issue now is a 3-way battle between. But just find one of the teams. Trabzonspor, if they're able to cover the money to Southampton, I think stay in Turkey and just rebuild your career. I mean, this was somebody who got 24 goals 2 seasons ago in the Belgian, and his career just fell off. Only a Nigerian player can have that kind of career. And also, second, I'm looking at Frank Onyeka, Frank the Tank, like he's called by Brentford fan. You know, nostalgia, when he joined, everything was good. But I think he made 15 appearances last season for Brentford. Only 8 of those were starts. So I think gradually, the Brentford manager, Thomas Frank, and the management have said they're open to offers for him. So I think if he's looking for regular play, we can't have a starting player for the Super Eagles being a fringe player for a Premier League side. So I think he can get another Premier League or maybe a lower side. But those are the 2 players I think should be on the move.
With regards to Frank Onyeka, I also feel injury haven't helped.
Yeah.
You look at, he hasn't had continuity. There were times where he had a good run in the starting lineup, then he was truncated by injuries. We hope that he's going to have an injury-free season. We'll take a pause on football and let's talk other sports. Rafael Nadal, yes, didn't quite get his hand on that title he craved, his first final since 2022. He lost to Burgess in Sweden, and yeah, we're going to see him at the Paris Olympics. From what you saw, do you think physically he's at that level to compete?
No, absolutely not. But I think because he's on clay, you know, he has been gearing up, that's one of the reasons why he missed Wimbledon. He said it's not going to be easy for him to his body to adapt from grass to clay. So I think he put all his efforts in the clay and in Roland Garros at the Olympics. But I don't think he will have enough. I mean, there are guys coming in, the likes of Yannick Sinner, the likes of Zverev, you know, they are coming in. The likes of Carlos Alcaraz. Djokovic is also going to be there, you know, likes of Carlos Alcaraz. They are all coming with, so I think it's going to be too much for him. Unfortunately, his career is winding down. We saw the same thing with Federer. The career wound down and it felt like it was an anticlimax. And sadly for Nadal, he's also having the same injuries and also loss of one, getting beaten. So I think he should just find a way to, you know, retire on a high.
All right, but still with other sports, Formula One, before we go on the break, David.
What drama.
What is happening? So let's give 1 or 2 more news due. We'll come to Red Bull. So Piastri, Lando Norris,
McLaren,
and Lewis Hamilton, top 3. For Lewis Hamilton, it was his 200th podium placement in Formula One history. The most, in fact, he had that, but it was just a landmark number for him. But the drama unfolded in the top 2, Piastri and Lando Norris. Lando Norris was ordered by the team to allow Piastri
to take the lead,
take his position because down to team instruction.
Piastri pitted like 2 laps.
Yes, 2 laps and all that stuff. And Lando Norris was like, hey, man, he has to earn it. In fact, it's not close to me. For me to allow him overtake, he has to get close to me, blah, blah, blah. I think it was like the 3rd or 4th lap to go before I allowed him pass. But hey, it is what it is. It's still a win for McLaren. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's why people, as much as you feel Formula One is an individual sport, the driver and the car, but I think the team at the back, they have a huge role to play. We saw a similar drama with Max Verstappen and Red Bull. The back and forth between him and the team engineer, they were just having a go at it. But I think one pertinent statement that the McLaren engineer made to Lando Norris that, you know, I think assuaged him was when he said, if you want to win a championship, you can't do it alone. It's a team effort.
It was like,
and that was why I might need in the future.
We go around you.
So I think that was why he decided to, you know, to let him go. So I think, but it's good for McLaren. And I think you asked a few weeks ago if Red Bull should be worried. I think the worries are now coming for. I mean, the last 3 races now consecutively, Verstappen has not won, and I think that's the longest run since 2021. And I think they are getting to them. The fact that at some point in the race, you know, he actually said to his engineer that we can't match their pace, but let's just try and get at least P3. But that P3 eventually, we saw this scuffle between him and Hamilton at the lap. So I think a lot of things has gone wrong for Red Bull. How they will find their way back.
Yeah, and you could see how he voiced his frustration, used some very unsavory words out there on the radio. Again, he's a very, very, he has a very fiery character. But again, if you don't give him what he wants, he's going to let you know. Because he's going to give you 100% in the car. The car needs to be at 100% so he can get the best out of the car. But I think they'll do enough to win the title this year, barring any unfortunate circumstances. I think he'll do enough to win. but next year is going to be tough. This is like a precursor
to
of what to
coming
expect in 2025. Let's go on a break. Yeah, I'm sure for our F1 fans, you thoroughly enjoyed this segment on the show. Let's go on a break. When we come back, it's going to be time for more transfers. This time, we're taking a look at some interesting transfer stories, transfer happenings, and of course, some unlikely transfers that will happen. Welcome back to the second half of the show, Sports Pizza. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms. The social media handles are showing on your screen. David, let's get down to action. Where do we start? Let's start with the 18-year-old who United paid 60 million euros for. That could rise to 64 million if he fulfills other contractual obligations. 18 years. The pressure is on this lad to come in and deliver. He's coming into a side that for the last decade or so, they are trying to find an identity after Sir Alex Ferguson left. There's so much uncertainty with Manchester United, and I feel it's a burden on an 18-year-old.
Absolutely, I agree completely. I mean, it brings back to mind the Saliba transfer when he moved from from Saint-Etienne to Arsenal. It took him 3 years to eventually find his way into Arsenal's first team. 3 different loan spells back to France. So, but for Leny Yoro, I think the advantage he has is because of the uncertainty, there's a place for him. I think he's going to get more playing time than Saliba was guaranteed at Arsenal. But I think Man United are paying for the promise, the potential, and that's what because for somebody who had a year on his contract, Real Madrid were also in the deal, but they were willing to wait till like January when they could get him for a cheaper price or even for free. You could start negotiating with foreign clubs. But United decided that the Ineos group, I think they wanted to set a statement that we are going to challenge the likes of Madrid and even for the brightest young talent. But the pressure is on the young man, like you have said. Let's see how he's going to. But from what has been said about him, his temperament seems to be right, and it seems like he has the right temperament to try. But hopefully, the pressure at United and everything will not swallow him up.
To a bigger transfer story, David, signed, sealed, and delivered. Finally is home. Kylian Mbappe is a Madrid star. We saw the crowd that turned up at the Santiago Bernabeu to welcome him. He said all of the right stuff.
Absolutely.
But the journey starts from the very first game. In fact, it starts in August. He has little or no time to prepare. What are we expecting from Kylian Mbappe, Real Madrid? Is Carlo Ancelotti going with a front three? Is he going with a 4-2? Is he sticking with his diamond? If he's sticking with his diamond, who is going to be the fall guy in attack? There's so much I'm expecting. Going into the coming season.
I mean, the longest running soap opera that we saw in football, how many seasons he went on that they wanted to get in. They finally got in there, man. I'm sure, I mean, when they were looking for Mbappe originally, Ancelotti was not the man at the helms of our affair. But I think the moment he came in, there was also links. So I'm sure he would have had a way of, how Mbappe is going to fit into this plan. One thing we are sure of is Mbappe is not going to be like the number 9 that they wanted, someone that's going to stay in the box and be waiting for service and chances. So he's going to play more. There's going to be a lot of interchanging between those 3 guys up front. I think Rodrigo is also going to feature prominently. I think Vinicius is also going to feature prominently. And one thing that those guys have shown is they are adaptive. Most especially Rodrigo, they are showing that he can play up front, he can play out wide. So there's going to be a lot of interchanges. A worry for defenders. Ancelotti is the man in charge. He's going to find a way around it. One thing he's very good at is allowing players to express themselves, getting the best system. So I think he's going to be, for me, I've wanted Mbappe to leave France for a long time. I mean, somebody we need to see on a weekly basis. How many times do you get to see him play in the league? Only on Champions League now. So I think for Mbappe, the time is now for him to actually prove himself to the rest of the world who feel that, he has been having the luck of the Ligue 1 tax. Now he's in La Liga, a bigger league. Time for him to prove himself.
Before we leave Real Madrid, Toni Kroos has left a vacuum. And we know how he helps Real Madrid in quick transitions, also dictate the pace, the quality of his passes. I think if I'm Mbappe, I'm looking at Toni Kroos. I know if I make those runs, he's going to find me. Now Real Madrid have to adapt. I don't think there's a like-for-like replacement readily available in this side. Maybe they can get someone into the team before the end of the transfer window. But in terms of how they adapt, how do you see this going for Real Madrid?
I mean, I still keep mentioning that man, Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, he's going to find a way. I mean, Mbappe, one thing that he has to worry about now is not what goes around. He just has to worry about what he has to do.
Yeah.
Eventually, at a club like Madrid, you expect that chances will come. They will
Yeah.
find a way. They will mostly dominate games when they have the opportunity. So I think he will just have to worry about when the ball comes to me, I do what I know how to do best. So I think Ancelotti will find a way around the team and get the best out of all the players he has.
All right, let's come back to England. Still Manchester, this time the blue side of Manchester. They've signed Savio, the Brazilian winger on loan at Girona from Troyes, who were relegated in France. What is he bringing to City? City used to have the Sterling, Sane, direct wingers. It feels like they are going back after that mini, will I say, try and error with Jack Grealish.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for Savinho, he's a typical Brazilian. You know what to expect from, apart from Anthony, Brazilian.
Come on, don't do that.
Well, we know what to expect from him. I mean, we saw him for Girona last season. He got double digits in goals and assists for them. It was very direct. And one thing is, he's quite direct. Pace he has, you know, he's able to take. And he's a traditional left winger playing on the left side with his left foot. So you expect more of the deliveries coming from, you know, it's not the usual inverted who likes to cut in and, you know, get chances. So I think that's something different, something refreshing for us to see. We are the OG fans of the traditional left wingers who are left-footed. So I think that's something different. You know, with Jack Grealish, most times he got the ball and he's trying to drift in. With Doku also trying to drift in. But with Savinho, they are getting an option out wide, extra, you know, width. I think that's what Guardiola is looking at, and that's what we're going to expect from him at Man City.
All right, I'm sure you're having fun with us. All of the transfer stories, gossips you will get on the show. All right, David, we'll wrap up this transfer segment with N'Golo Kante. The stories that he could pitch his tent in London, this time not with Chelsea, but with West Ham. He gave us a throwback to the Kante of yesteryears at the Euros, and regardless of his age, West Ham will be getting a fantastic player if they are able to seal this deal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, for every generation, there are players who defy all logic. Kante is 33 at this point in time. You expect 33-year-old to be one, but you know, we saw him at the Euros back-to-back. You know, in the group stages, back-to-back man of the match. In the midfield, they had likes of Rabiot and Tchouaméni. So I think Kante is defy. One thing that has not left him, his energy is still there. His ability to cover space, cover ground, his ball-winning ability is still there. So I think West Ham will be getting quality, like you said, absolute quality. He still offers a lot of them.
All right, we'll give you plenty of transfer gossips, stories, analysis in the coming weeks. David, we'll wrap up with Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea, so we know what happened. Won the Copa America in the bus, having fun with his teammates, and they made some unsavory remarks. In fact, some racist remarks. A couple of Chelsea black players have come out to show their disdain for that. Chelsea have opened an inquiry. Feels like Enzo is going to be sanctioned. FIFA are looking into this. The French Football Federation have said they're taking this up in the court of law. Do you think his time with Chelsea is all but over?
I don't think so. I think the football generation we are now, you know, they are more. I think they are more forgiving. I think, although we feel we are in a woke generation, there's a lot of cancel culture. But I think for issues that has to do with racism, I've not seen anybody that has actually, you know, been completely cancelled for issues, and that's my grouse. We've seen other issues. I mean, when Kozuma kicked the cat a few years ago, it felt like they were going to bring the whole world down on him. We saw the Mason Greenwood issue also. But I think with racism, I don't know why. It shows why racism is more of a societal problem than even a football problem. It seems like when issues of racism, we saw Luis Suarez, he got a 7-match ban and he came back from it. And this one was somebody that actually, it was confirmed, it was caught on camera and everything. But I think he will come back from it. I don't think he will be sold, and just because of the way football is nowadays. And
again, to my surprise, or maybe not, but to my disgust also, David, he got a couple of people backing him in Argentina, politicians there and all that stuff. You see some very disingenuous rhetorics flying all around. But hey, it is what it is. I've always said racism will never end. But the best way to curb racism is to educate the coming generation. Absolutely. That's the only way you can. I don't think a 35-year-old racist can change or will change.
No, it has
He
been
grew up
ingrained,
being
yeah.
racist. He grew up experiencing it. So the coming generation should be the target.
Yeah.
Teach them. It is the same blood
Absolutely.
that flows in your skin.
I mean, the irony is they have McAllister, whose family is originally Scottish, in that same thing. So what you are saying is it also affects what the message we're putting out also affects McAllister, because you are saying you should go back to his country of origin. And funny thing is, most of these Argentine players, most people, I don't know if they
trace the history of
Italians, Spanish,
that migrated
so
to Argentina.
It's just it's ignorance that causes it.
It is what it is. All right, that's how I will sign off on the show today. I'm sure you had a lot of fun with us. We'll be back same time next week. As always in our tradition, we'll leave you with our video for the week. Do ensure to follow us on all social media platforms at Sports Pizza. We have lovely content for you on YouTube. It is adios from me, Edwin Onyebolise. David, thank you for being around once again.
Yeah, Edwin, always a pleasure. From David, it's goodbye.